Let's go!
Let's look at the news. It's time to celebrate because all of us had something to do with this. It wasn't just me. I was at sort of like the front lines of this stuff, but Marvel vs. Capcom has sold 1 million copies. And if I go back to my profile, the actual initial announcement for this was made in Japan, about their 1 million units sold. The original Japanese article talking about the PR of this, yeah, they sold 1 million copies of the game. Pretty crazy, although it feels like it should have hit that much faster. I completely agree. It feels like 1 million units of MVC should have already happened. And based on how much like goodwill and how much like it felt like the community was screaming and thriving and all this stuff, feels like that number should have been accomplished in a much quicker span of time. But a reminder, this is a collection of games that have been emulatable 100% for a very long time. MVC2 emulation especially really kicked in over the past like 5 years. That is the case. Also, for like 15 years before that, all the other games were super emulatable, right? Have been played by a variety of high and level players over Fightcade and GGPO for God knows how long with incredible netcode, okay? So it's not like the resources to play these games were completely lost. You could do it. It's just officially finding them in a way that made sense was unavailable. The tough part about it is that it launched at $49.99. This was not a cheap collection, dude. Does anybody remember how much Marvel vs. Capcom 2 came out in 2009? From good old 16 years ago, me recording through my HD PVR, MVC2 footage online, almost like the first little while that it came out. So this version of the game was pretty good. It was not bad. Guess how much it cost? Back in the early sort of like dawn of the XBLA era. This is like the first few years of XBLA. It was $14.99. It was dirt cheap. It was so cheap. It was insane. It was so cheap that so many people bought it, and it ends up being one of the most successful Xbox Live games ever. Of like games that were only digital releases back in like 08, 09, there wasn't that many of them. But between the PS3 and the 360 version, they sold 2 million copies of this game for the limited period of time that it was available. Was actually one of the best-selling digital-only games ever. Was an old HD up port of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and nothing else. Just online versus mode, nothing else, you know? No other games, nothing else. A lot of people bought it because it was obviously super cheap and everyone got their MVC2. This game was not that way, man. This obviously was going for more. It was going for a larger collection. It was going for literally everything, like almost everything up into Marvel vs. Capcom 3, right? Which is where it technically stops. I still remember being sort of bewildered that this came out at $49.99. It's been on sale here or there. It never really had anything crazy sale-wise. In fact, the biggest sale for it's happening right now, which is like 40% off, but people were somewhat able to get the game for like 30, 35 bucks, all that kind of stuff, if you really wanted to put in a little bit of effort. What I'm trying to tell you is that there is only one other collection of Capcom fighting games that has ever had like an exemplary amount of success that is just a collection of old ass fighting games that was put into one place and people bought it. The Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. To my behest, like a lot of issues with this version of the game. There's a lot of problems with some of the games in it and not everything was online, but it was a very good collection. It was kind of like the early years of Digital Eclipse making these sort of collections. So there's a lot of really cool stuff in here. This game has sold like 3 million copies. Like every single quarter, Capcom posts their financial reports. Somehow Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Edition has pushed another 100,000 units almost every single quarter for the past, like, I think it's almost been out for like 7 years. 3 million copies for a bunch of old ROMs, dude. It is crazy. This is one of the best-selling classic fighting game collections that has ever existed. One of the best-selling ones, period. It seems almost insurmountable and impossible for this to be the way it is. Nothing will ever beat it. Insert MVC collection. Game reached number 6 in the UK charts, number 10 in Australia, in Japan, and the game reached number 4 in the PS4 and 6 on the Switch, 21,000 copies between them. And by November of 2019, which was a full year and a half Came out like May of 2018. A year and a half later, the game had sold a total of 1 million copies worldwide. And by this year, it's now at 3.6. So it's up even more, dude. It is up even more, 3.6. Yeah, best-selling collection of all time, right? The MVC collection sold 1 million units in a year on its first birthday. So it's outselling the best-selling fighting game collection of all time. It's not the best-selling, it is not, but it's currently on track and has only been discounted so much over the past year. It's at the biggest discount it's ever been at right now at 40%. One of the best-selling, fastest-selling collections of old games ever. So that's pretty good. I was sort of, I think, expecting more from this, not realizing that these are some old ass games, man. Do people even care about these really old games anymore? And don't get me wrong, several other Capcom collections have gone on to sell very well. Old classic Mega Man collections, old classic Phoenix Wright collections, like everything. Those are completely different beasts than fighting games. Collections of old fighting games notoriously usually do not sell super well. Like they do okay. They find their audience of like 40-year-old dads, but them expanding beyond what could be possible is kind of rare. In fact, we might be on the horizon of getting one of the best collections of fighting games ever, which is the Mortal Kombat collection that'll be coming out really soon. And that might go down as being the best-selling collection of fighting games that we have ever seen, right? Another Digital Eclipse game, the same guys that made Street Fighter 30th Anniversary, right? I am confident that that will happen for the MK collection because it's been so long. And those games are requested for so long. This is not a small feat. It just isn't. 1 million units in a year for a bunch of old games is really good. It's like shocking. Like imagine if that was a new game. It's a whole new game with like a new roster, how much interest there would be. How much interest could you garner from that, you know? Anyway, all it does is makes me very happy that the thought process that myself and everybody that supported like the free MVC2 movement back like 4 or 5 years ago now was correct. People want to play these games. These games are celebrated. The fact that they're not available has been a crime, and the fact that getting to play them in any way that doesn't involve emulation or finding an old system was actually genuinely hard. And a lot of people just don't want to deal with emulation, dude. It's funny because it's like, I didn't get the ton of time to spend with the collection, but the free MVC2 movement and getting Marvel vs. Capcom games into the hands of everybody, I have these games, man. I have a billion different ways I can play these games, and I've been playing for the entirety of my career of making content. I've made so many videos around these games forever. That movement and getting all that attention was not for me. It was for everybody else that does not have those resources. It was to get the game into the hands of people that missed out, never even could play them anymore or knew that they existed, and they can fire up Marvel superheroes, not just MVC2, and realize, damn, this is great. Wow, this game is so cool. This is so sick, you know? I'm very happy about this, and all I gotta say is that thank you for everybody if you did buy a copy in response to our little campaign to bring this stuff back. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for assisting a future where Marvel vs. Capcom can exist. It means a lot to me, and I'll do whatever I can, whatever it takes to push things forward and try to get something to happen in the future. I'll always do that. I'll always be a defender of Marvel vs. Capcom. I'll always do it. So much so, there was some pretty cool stuff that was discovered and was added to the game a little while ago in MVC2. And I thought this was so sick that Random Select was added to MVC2 for the first time nearly ever. I hit up Tampa Never Sleeps and Tong and crew, and I'm like, hey, you guys got any space for a random NVC2 tournament? Boiled down to an October 5th date. It's happening. I'm going to be restreaming this. I'm also adding a $1,000 pot bonus to a random select, random assist, and random character. I told Justin about it. I did. Random select MVC2 tournament might be one of the first ones ever. Will it have a Matcherino? You damn straight it will. This is not an official tournament. This is something that I just hit them up and was like, I would like to support this, right? In the same way that like the MVCI tournament happened, I'm like, if you guys could and you had the time, could you run an event for this? We'll make it pop off. Tong and Tampa Never Sleeps crew, these guys have always been super cool with this stuff. So they were down. They said, like, it's really neat. They didn't realize that happened to the game. Yeah, so you're just giving Justin money. Hey, you know what? There's going to be a lot of really good Marvel 2 players, and they could random roll Cable, or they could random roll Captain Commando B Assist, okay? You could random roll a god tier team. You'd be sitting pretty, dude. All I gotta say is, I'm pretty sure the way it's going to be structured, if it's like a first to 2, first to 3 situation, you have to random every single single time. Like, you're gonna have to win through the good God graces of random, and you can't like roll a God tier team and then the other person is going to just stick with that God tier team for every single game. Nah, that's bullshit, man. It is random select every single time. You don't have any control of your characters, your opponent doesn't have any control of theirs. So there's no like direct counter picks. It's in God's hands. It's true random. What really is the benefit of this is how much of the game do you know? Game's been out for 20 plus years, 25 years? How much Marvel 2 do you know? Justin knows a lot. He certainly does. Anyway, long story short, yeah, I'll be putting in the prize bonus. We will be restreaming this on October 5th, Sunday. I'll do it before our Yo Video Game stream. We'll just lead right into it. So I can't wait, dude. I planned this before the announcement of the 1,000,000 units sold. This was just this is a celebration moment as well, dude. Random selected Marvel 2 is something that we've wanted forever. Forever. And now it's actually real because random select Marvel 2 is crazy. It's such an insane game.